Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your Sensei Gaming Dojo, or Dojo Senpai for my anime watchers. So I've realized that a lot of you are actually from the Philippines, so kamusta to you. And in this video, I'm going to be ranking the weapons from Dragon to Rabbit tier in Season 10 of Farlight 84. And I'm going to be starting it off with the AK. So the AK this season is actually one of the top weapons in the game. It may not be the best when it comes to close range combat, but from mid range to long range, you gotta figure out the recoil situation. But if you have the golden muzzle on it, you will be fine. So I'm gonna have to say that this is an elephant of a gun. It's not really an S tier weapon since it's not good at everything, but it is definitely a very solid weapon that you want to be using if you want to have a chance at beating anybody this season. Next up, we got the Defender. So I'm gonna be honest, I've been using this as a substitute for the bar. So you can basically use it the same as the bar, and it's more forgiving than the bar. You can use it at long range, you can use it at close range, you can use it at mid range, you can use it at any range. It does 128 damage to the head at max level, I believe. It does 100 for sure, 100 flat for sure, and higher. I don't know what the exact number is. But yeah, this weapon is definitely gotta be an S tier weapon. It's good at close, medium, and long range. So long as you're hitting your shots, and if you get a lucky headshot, you're gonna win that gunfight. I don't care who it is that you're shooting at. Next up, we got the mother of all snipers, the Bar 95. I ain't gonna lie, it's a very good weapon, but it's not better than the Defender, and here's why. The Defender is versatile, and you can use it at any range for any reason. But the Bar, you're gonna have to bolt your bullet back into the mag, and that's gonna cost you the gunfight. So unless you hit 2 shots back to back, or even if you do hit the 2 shots back to back, if it's not a headshot and another headshot, or a headshot and a body shot, they're still gonna be walking. They're gonna be the walking dead. So the R95 is a very solid weapon. It's nice for clips and nice for like highlight videos and stuff like that. Not the type of weapon that I would say is a S tier or Dragon tier. This season, the shotguns are insane, mainly the Hound, but the Fanatic is also a very good weapon. I'm not gonna cap to you. Like the Jack 12, which is what somebody said in my comments the other day when I was reading it, but it is literally just like the Jack 12 from COD Mobile, if you're familiar with that. You're hitting all your shots with this. It's good. I mean, it's good. I ain't gonna say it's like, yo, you gotta be using this weapon, but it's a decent weapon that if you're getting that off of spawn, you pick it. If you pick this up, you're gonna be in good standing. Gonna have to be honest with you on this one. I was very disappointed when I realized that the generator this season actually is garbage. It sucks. And honestly, it just really sucks. The generator, I was very disappointed. It went from being like low A tier, like an elephant, to being a bloody pig, mate. It's garbage. Like, you can hit, it does like 9 damage, bro. What type of AR does 9 damage? That's worse than the Uzi. Worse than the UMP, worse than all the SMGs in the game. How is an AR doing less damage than an SMG? That's just ridiculous. That speaks for itself. But in terms of the only reason I'm not putting it in Rabbit is because it's decent enough. It's just barely not a rabbit. It's just a pig instead. That's the only reason I'm gonna leave it there, because it can actually kill the enemy, but you just don't want to really pick this up. If you have the opportunity, you don't want to pick this up. If you could choose anything else above, you don't want to pick this. Now we have the fan favorite Jupiter 6. It's been the best weapon for every season that I've been playing this game for now, and it still remains as one of the best weapons in the game, though this season they did nerf the damage. But if you're hitting headshots, right, I made a video about that, so if you're hitting headshots with the Jupiter 6, easily a dragon because of the kill time on it. But if you're hitting body shots and no headshots, it's like, it's here, it's mid. So this goes off a skill level, so it's a dragon or an elephant based on your skill level. But let's just say that you hit a few headshots with this, right? If you're hitting a few headshots with this weapon, you're in good standing. You're gonna be beating would you be beating the AK? Nah, if you're hitting, okay, check this out. So if you're hitting, oh no, this is good. This is good stuff. See, this is a good test between these two. The AK and the Jupiter, this is a very good test. Because the Jupiter, it shoots faster, right? It shoots faster than the AK, but the AK does more damage. It shoots slower but does a lot more damage. And if you're hitting all headshots, I think that the AK would beat the Jupiter, even though it shoots slower, but it's stronger. But the reason I'm gonna have to put the Jupiter ahead of the AK is because it is overall a better weapon. You can use it without the muzzle. The AK, you're gonna have to have like a type of muzzle on it to control that horrible recoil. So I'm just gonna have to put this as an elephant still. I'm not gonna say it's a dragon because of the weakness of it. I'm not really gonna say it's a dragon because of the weakness. I may end up changing this later. But for now, it's just the best of the elephants. This season, the White Dwarf surprised me in a very good way. I'm a proud father of the White Dwarf. It's graduated from being a dwarf to a full grown, so it's just the white grown. This gun can shred an enemy at close range, yo. It went from being like, I never even want to pick this gun up, to being a gun that I'm like, yo, if I'm not using this, it's like being held back by a force. So, especially when you pair the White Dwarf or any other SMG with Cypher, forget the UMP, it sucks. If you're using any other SMG, the faster reload time that Cypher has, yo, is a super cold weapon. So the only reason I'm not gonna put this any higher up is because it's an SMG and the range is limited, right? The range is limited. If we're talking close range and stability and overall good juiciness of the gun, White Dwarf is gonna beat every single one of these things up here. Everybody's gonna beat everybody. But since it's not overall a good weapon in terms of long range as well, like the Jupiter and Defender, he's gonna have to stay here. But yeah, it's definitely beating the bar. Simply because if you're hitting all your shots with the bar and you're hitting all your shots with the White Dwarf, you're gonna win with the White Dwarf over the bar. This season, the Hound as well. I was saying earlier, the shotguns got better, a lot better. Hound is basically the bar of shotguns, right? So this kind of goes to explain itself. It's since I'm saying it's just like the bar, but it's better than the bar in terms of close range damage. It takes like 2 shots. It can 2-shot an enemy at close range, right? But it's a shotgun, which is its downfall, which is why the bar is gonna have to beat it. Or you can use it close, medium, and long. Shotguns, you can only use it close and probably long. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason the Hound is going down here. The Invader, yo. So somebody was telling me in my comments the other day that the Invader is like an S tier type of weapon. At first I thought that they was a clown, but until I tried it out, I can see why they said it. So this thing pumps out a good amount of damage at a good speed, and everything about it is just good, right? You can use this at long range. I think like later in the game, it can do like 50 to the head. So that's just about probably like 4 to 6 shots or something like that you're going to be taking, and you're going to be killing the enemy if you're hitting all headshots, right? The Invader is definitely a nice secondary weapon that you want to be using. You don't really want to use it as your primary. You can, actually you can. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. It's just a really good weapon. You would have to try it out to know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If you disagree with this and you tried this out, tell me where you think it should be out of all of these ranks that we have listed, because it is actually just a really solid weapon. Next up, we have another AR, the M4. Now the M4, it's a funny little weapon, right? If you're hitting body shots with this, it's just like it's okay. But when you start getting them headshots, you know what I mean? You're starting getting headshots. It's not as strong as the AK, but it's very, very, very stable, right? It's very stable in terms of long range, close range, medium range, and you don't need a muzzle. You do not need a muzzle with this. So I'm actually gonna put this in front of the AK because you can hit at long range easily. I actually got beamed the other day by somebody using a 2-time scope on the M4, and I was very far away. I got killed real good. So the M4 is a straight up beam if you're hitting all of your shots, and it's definitely better than the AK, White Dwarf, Bar, Hound, everybody on this list that's below it. But the real question comes between the Jupiter and the M4. So the only reason I'm going to be putting the Jupiter ahead of the M4 is because it has a bigger bullet. It's more forgiving. Now, if you're equally as skilled, if you're like super good, let's say you have aimbot, right? If you have aimbot, really, if you had aimbot, you really want to be using the AK. But if you has really good aim, you would want to be using the M4 over the Jupiter, simply because it does more damage and it's just about the same type of fire rate, and it's just overall a better weapon. I believe the Jupiter does 23 to the head, 15 to the body. I think the M4 does 18 to the body and 27 to the head. So if you're hitting headshots and body shots, M4 is going to beat the Jupiter every day. But that's only if you're a good player and you can hit all your shots. So I'm just gonna say overall, right? We're gonna go for like, let's just say that you're a newer player to the game. You're most likely not gonna be hitting all your shots. So we're gonna have to say that the Jupiter is better because it's more forgiving. Now, I don't know if y'all peeped it or not, but I made a tier specifically for this guy, right? This is the worst gun in the game. It's super weak, it shoots garbagely, and it's just overall horrible. If you've used it before, you know why I'm saying this. It just sucks, man. You can lose a gunfight that you would have won, but you lose because you're using this gun. If you was using a generator, you would have won it. But nah, you're using a Mad Rabbit. It's called Mad Rabbit for a reason. It's called Mad because it makes you mad because you lost the game because of a rabbit. Next up, we have the Mad Rat, the father of the rabbit. I can't diss this gun though. If the enemy is standing still, I mean completely still, and you hit all your shots, this thing is a beam. But that's not the world that we live in. We don't live in a perfect world now, do we, in Farlight 84? So what I'm gonna do with the Mad Rat is put you just below the elephant and stay as a monkey. Because it's a good gun if you're hitting all your shots, but it's just not really forgiving since it's a semi-automatic. Next up, we have the MF18, the SMG version of the Mad Rat. And basically, it's just about the same, but I'm gonna have to say it's better. It may not be as good at long range, but it's definitely better at medium to close range. It's just easier to use, honestly. It just seems easier to hit your shots with the MF18 than it is to hit with the Mad Rat. I'm gonna have to say, with the Porcupine, it's not a bad weapon. The damage it kicks like a horse. Honestly, it hits if you're hitting. But the fire rate, the enemy can literally go between your bullets. Like boop 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 boop. It just shoots so slow. So I'm gonna have to rank it lower, right? But I ain't gonna rate it this low. It's still a solid weapon, right? I'm gonna have to put you right about here. It does not deserve to be an elephant because it doesn't have greatness of an elephant. It has the strength of an elephant, but it does not have the tusk of an elephant. And now we got the stellar wind. So somebody's definitely going to be disagreeing with me with this one in the comments. Somebody was saying, I think that they were saying that this should be like an S tier type of weapon, but it just doesn't have what it takes to be an S tier weapon, right? I'm gonna actually have to put this in like instead of a dragon, I'm gonna have to put you at a monkey. It's worse than the Porcupine as well. It just doesn't do the right. It does decent damage, right? It does decent damage, like 34 or something like that. But it just doesn't shoot fast enough. Even if it did shoot fast enough, it still wouldn't. If it just doesn't have what it takes. You know what I mean? Instead of stellar wind, you should be using the Invader. Instead of stellar wind, you should be using the Defender. You shouldn't be using the stellar wind. I don't even like to have this as my secondary weapon. It just ain't it, chief. It just ain't it. The UMP99. Now I'm saying this as a Cypher main. I have increased the reload speed by 0.14 milliseconds. Not that much, but it's helpful. So coming from a Cypher main, the UMP, man, it's mid, right? It's mid. It'll probably beat the it's a close competition out the Porcupine and the UMP, yo. So the damage just ain't it. The damage ain't doing enough, but it's a mid type of weapon, you know? It's good. You can use it, but I just want to get it out of my hand as quick as possible. See, my ideal type of loadout would be like a White Dwarf Defender, White Dwarf Invader, White Dwarf Bar 95, so I can deal some good damage and then switch and then finish off the enemy. But with the UMP, man, it just ain't it. Starting off the mag capacity is like 22 bullets, so if you miss a couple of bullets, you're basically out of it. I'm talking about like early game, but it's still decent because it can kill the enemy. The SMGs this season did overall get better, which brings me to the Uzi. The Uzi, I'm talking if you hit every bullet, this gun would be like here. But I can't do that because it has limited range and extreme recoil, right? So, with that being said, it's not very forgiving and it's not easy for newer players to use. So we're just going to move it straight down and over to there. It has an insanely fast kill time. You can come back from any type of deficit that you're in. If the enemy misses one bullet, they're going to be paying a heavy price of 21 bullets in less than a second with the Uzi. So the Uzi is like, it's like double jeopardy, really. If you miss, you die. If you don't miss, you win. That simple. This season they also did good with the VSS. I think it should still do just a little bit more damage. So instead of 18, I think it should be doing like 19 to the body, right? So the mag capacity is the only thing with this gun, right? When you first get it, it has like 10 bullets or so. But the damage makes up for it, which is why I'm saying it should do a little bit more damage. So probably like 20 damage, really. Because it shouldn't be doing the same amount of damage as a, I mean, it should be doing more damage, than the Porcupine. So let's just say that you have a VSS and you have the extended mag, which is a favorable situation. We're going to have to be putting this right about here. Because not only does it have a good kill time, it does some serious amount of damage and it does it real good. And it's easier to use in the Porcupine. So that's where that's just going to have to stay. This season they moved the Rhino from being like a third weapon to a secondary weapon, which I am disappointed with. But they increased the speed of it, right? So if you want to use the Rhino, it's basically like using the bar, but a little less forgiving. Because the reload time on this is dog, right? But I'm going to have to put the Rhino there. Because it does like 128 damage or something like that. Probably more if you actually hit your shot. So if you hit with that and then switch, you're in good shape. If you don't, you're dead. That simple. And lastly, we have the MG7. If you've used it before inside of like a team deathmatch, not a team deathmatch, inside of a solo, so like 1v1, it goes here without a doubt. It's crazy fast, crazy strong, just an overpowered weapon.
This is the way of the dojo. Peace.